Thanks again to the good people at Form for sponsoring this week's episode of Gettin Grown. Form is here to celebrate all forms of beauty in its unique hair consultation that helps you to find the right products that work for you. No more searching through the aisles of Sally's. Now you have a system that sends you products based off of your individual situation. I got my Form products and used them from start to finish, washing my hair with the cleansing shampoo, conditioning it, using the spray lotion, and having a flourishing braid out. And my hair feels hella healthy. Start your Form consultation right now by going to formbeauty.com/grown. That's FORMbeauty.com/grown. Welcome to another episode of Gettin Grown. I'm Jade. This is Keia.
What up, y'all?
Praise the Lord, niggas.
Praise the Lord. Thank you guys for tuning in for another week of our folly and foolishness as we stumble through our respective adult lives.
Yes.
We're glad to be back. What's going on, sis?
Nothing. We have been having some connection issues, but we are going to power through this. We are going to make it because get behind me, Satan.
He's such a dusty lie. I hate him. Anyway, yes, we are pushing through, the trials of recording remotely and not being in the same state. But I mean, we're going to keep trying because we've got to be consistent. For all of our faithful listeners, shout out to everyone who's been so awesome. All the positive feedback that we got on last week's episode. And every day I feel like we get more and more people reaching out to tell us how much they're enjoying the show. And it really means a lot to us. So Big shout out to y'all. Thank you all so much for listening.
I get some really nice Instagram messages too. A lot of them actually, quite a few come in, and I read all of them. And I thank all of you guys. I'm so glad that Keia and I are able to come together and do something that's meaningful to the people in our community. So it feels good that, we're doing something positive for you guys, even when I'm cussing people out. You know what I'm saying?
The people have some words for Baked in Brooklyn. I think that we've been blocked. I think that we were blocked on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, because a few people they found Baked in Brooklyn's Twitter and had some choice words for your girls. So, I guess it's just par for the course. We also had quite a few people reach out to us and let Jade know that she does in fact have a case.
Sure did.
So hopefully you'll be able to shake out your Angela Kardashian China wig. And
my bob stays ready. She sits on the mannequin and she's ready to come out when it's time to play.
Angela, Black China is like the master finesser, scammer extraordinaire. I mean, I don't know if there's much to be said for what she's done, but I will say that I saw a meme today where it said that Black China has been able to do what no successful, what no black man has been able to do, which is like infiltrate the Kardashian empire and escape with his soul. So,
I don't know if she has a soul, but I do. I know she has some coins that she's going to be able to take to the bank for quite some time. That I do know now. And I have to retract a few things that I said. I said on Jade and XD, and I stand by some stuff. I really wanted to see Angela win more. I wanted to. I didn't want to see her win this way. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to see her win this way. But, it is what it is. A nigga puts his hands on you and puts it out there like that, you got to fight with a vengeance. So, while I don't agree with all of her actions along the way.
This is not an endorsement. Endorsement. But I would be remiss in failing to acknowledge how cogent and comprehensive a scam
my girl was on Good Morning America. Good Morning America.
Listen, I mean, I don't know if that's a testament to the state of our nation and news.
It absolutely is.
And communication or whatever, but mass communication in our country. I don't know if that's a testament of that or what, but the fact that,
senior citizens were watching Black China this morning on Good Morning America while they ate their grape nuts. It was just...
Who is she? She's a model, Harry. She's a model. It says she's a model.
It's like, what a time to be alive. What a time. I don't know. I feel like I say that every week, but it is what it is. I just cannot believe it. But listen, right, wrong, or indifferent, whether we like it or not, it seems like Black China is here to stay. So we're going to have to get right or get left.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite things to say.
What, get right or get left?
Yes, I love saying that. I say it all the time. Better get right or get left.
Better get right or get left. But yeah, let's move on, sis. Because we don't know how long this internet connection is going to remain in our favor. So let us push past to shout out to my sis.
Yes.
My sis is popping right now. Like,
this week in shout out to my sis, we have two people who I would like to feature. The first being, we received an email from Jay Corbett. Jay Corbett, Jay. Jay says, Dear Jade and Keia, I want to give a huge shout out to my big sister, Shwanda Corbett. She's an MFA fine arts student at the Oxford University. Yes, the one in England, and has been fucking it up in the art game. She works with many different mediums because her talent knows no bounds. She's not even 30 yet and has achieved so many things already. The purpose of this shout out is to congratulate her on her first solo art show, which will be in Turkey during the spring of 2018. They're paying for everything. That's how you know she popping. I know this is one of many wins she's about to catch as her career progresses. Her drive and hard work has inspired me to pursue my own dreams. I'm super proud of her and can't wait to see what's next for her. You can check out some of her work and processes on her IG at Corbett, CORBETT_NY. Sincerely, Jay. So, Jay is shouting out his big sister, Shwanda. And we are so super proud of Miss Shwanda and this first solo art show. Not only is it her first solo art show, but it's in Turkey because your girl is global and doing worldwide things. WWW. Right. So, yes, I wanted to shout out Miss Shwanda. And thanks, Jay, so much for letting us know what's going on with your sis, because she's in fact popping.
Absolutely.
In these art streets. Spring 2018, we have some time before then, but everyone please head over to at Corbett, CORBETT_NY on Instagram and show Shwanda some support.
Yes.
Our very next shout out is from another young woman by the name of Mia. Mia and I have spoken a couple of times on Instagram. So when I got her email, I wanted to be sure to feature her in the segment. So Mia writes, Hi, Jade and Keia. First, I love the show. Thank you for always reminding us that it's okay that we're still figuring out life at any age. Also sending extra love to the Ghost of Our 20s Past episode. I'm so grateful for the therapy. I've replayed Kia's letter more times than I can count, and you'll see why below. My best friend, Trey Gordon, unexpectedly passed this June, ironically the same day as Kia's brother. Inspired by Issa Rae's crowdfunding for Alton Sterling's children, I've set up a scholarship to send his mentee, Tyreek, to college to celebrate him. In short, Trey was a great example of what a Black man should be. A huge part of his life was how much of himself he gave to people in terms of time, talent, and resources. I wish the media showcased more images like him, but luckily we have you guys, the Read and the Friend Zone, to hear about our magic weekly. Thank you. Any support via show, shoutout, and tweet are greatly appreciated. Here's the link. I'll put the link in the description box, but it's www.gofundme.com /33 for Trey, TREY. If anyone needs additional info, I'll also leave Mia's IG and Twitter names along with that. So again, that's #33 for Trey. And I'm sure, if you guys want to support Mia as she raises these funds for Trey's mentor and celebration of his life, I'm definitely going to try to, send my support as well. So I just wanted to share that because, these things happen, but it's important for us to make the lives of our loved ones meaningful, continue on their legacies by doing great work like this. So shout out to Mia, rest in heaven, Trey. And we're going to try to do everything that we can to help Tyreek get to college to celebrate Trey's life. All the more.
Yes.
thanks Mia for the shout out. Awesome work to you, sis. And we're definitely keeping each other lifted.
Kitchen table talk time. Gather around.
Get your snacks. Get your snacks and things. It's kitchen table talk.
Hey.
Snacks and things. It's kitchen table talk.
Hey.
Get your snacks and things.
Hey.
Okay. I'm sorry. I got a little caught up.
That's all right. What do you have? What's your snack today?
I'm just going to keep it real simple. I just got some good old nacho cheese Doritos because you just can't go wrong with a Dorito.
You can't. Sometimes you can bougie it up and dip a Dorito in some hummus.
Oh my god.
That's hood rich. That's hood rich.
So it's like gentrification of the snacks.
It is.
Oh my god.
Sometimes I'll be gentrifying the snacks. Sometimes I'll be dipping my Doritos in the salsa. It's good. Like, what you want me to do? What you want me to do?
Eat your Doritos and put them on your sandwich like the hood.
I definitely put chips on my sandwich because I enjoy a crunch.
Oh, I live for a crunch. We talked about this before.
Since I went in the bodega the other day and bought 2 types of chips. Some kettle chips because everybody knows you need Old Faithful. And then I bought some jalapeno lime tortilla chips.
So I really enjoy jalapeno flavor things.
I really, really do.
Do you know, I can't think of the brand. I can see the bag, but I think Kettle makes a jalapeno kettle chip, which is just magnificent. But you have to be careful because the spice will bust you in your face.
I'm not sensitive to spice, so jalapeno flavored chips don't really do anything for me. I just find them to just be like barbecue. It's just another flavor. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy jalapeno flavored things. I guess if you're sensitive, but it is what it is. So this week at the kitchen table, we are channeling our mothers because I know that on a daily basis, I myself find myself doing things that my mother does and I can't control it. And sometimes I try to control it, but I realize that I'm turning into her and I, am trying to go a different direction in certain things. And then in other things, I use the things that she's taught me. So what are some of the things you find, sis, that you have picked up from your mother and you're doing more and more as you get older?
Yeah, so this was like an interesting topic. I thought it was cool when you suggested it because, a part of your 30s is really figuring out and coming to know that you are, in fact, turning into your mom.
Yeah.
So I notice things on a very regular basis that I do, and it's really scary, but I'm glad that we get to share these things and just talk this out because it's a jarring thing that could be traumatic. So, we wanted to provide some support and comfort for those of you who may be noticing the same thing about yourselves. I guess I have a list here. It's about 6 things. They're quick that I know that I do that my mom does. So the first thing is saying things twice. I feel like all Black women say things twice when we really mean them. Yeah. So it'll be like, you got one more time to get out of my face. You have one more time. You just got one more time to get out of my. And I do that all the time. Like I say everything twice. To be like, I told y'all I wasn't going to do this. I told y'all I wasn't. So like, I definitely say things twice. The next thing is something, it's one of my favorite things because I remember very distinctly my brother and I like laughing at my mom for doing this, but I totally do it now. So I don't know what that's all about. But speaking in high and low when I get angry. So speaking in high and low, meaning that my volume fluctuates very randomly, like arbitrarily at any time while I'm talking. So I'll be, especially when I'm angry. So I'll just give an example because the way my mom used to do it, like, let's say I came home let's say my mom told me to like unload the dishwasher or something and I didn't do it. She would come in my room and she would be like, Keia, I asked you very nicely to take them dishes out of that dishwasher and put them away. But you couldn't do that. So like the high and low. And I definitely do that. I find myself doing that to any and everybody. The people who I talk to regularly can attest that I do that.
Yes, you do.
Another thing that I do is thinking in terms of price. This used to really wear me out because my mom would do this to me Like she would just yell prices. Like when I remember my brother used to always go outside or go to school and he didn't have on his hat or his a jacket or whatever. And my mother would just come in the house yelling like the copay. $25. You know how much it costs? $25 every time I have to take you to the doctor. You want to run in and out of this house with no clothes on. $25. So I think in terms of price, like I see things now and be like, do you know how much I could do? Like someone said, like, so we went to happy hour and it was whack and I spent $20. I'll be riding home thinking like, do you know what I could have bought with that? I wasted my money. Like I definitely think in terms of price. The next one is counseling stranger kids and fixing kids' clothes. So I'm gonna say counseling. My mother used to parent other people's children, but I'm not a parent myself, so I don't feel comfortable saying that I parent other people's children. But if your child, if I'm in the store or I get into an elevator or if I'm anywhere and I see a child in distress, it's very difficult for me to just walk past silently. I don't care.
Absolutely.
And I know that, you know, we live in an age now where people feel away when you say things to their children. I don't know. And there are times where I wish that I could just mind my business, but most times I am going to say something. I've been in the elevator. There's a young lady who lives in my building who has a small child, little girl. She gets in the elevator. We get in the elevator all the time. I see her and she's in mid meltdown over one reason or another, crying full. And I just be like, hey, what's wrong? Like, I might not speak to the lady, but I'm going to ask the little girl, hey, what's the matter? Like, I'm going to ask,
why are you so upset?
What's the matter?
Yeah.
And I mean, I will have a full Mommy said I can't have no cookies. Like, Mommy said you what? I said, well, are you a big girl or are you a baby? Like, I will try to get to the root of the matter and like, well, let's get to a resolve because big girls don't be crying in the elevator like this. Like, I don't know.
You need to come talk to your niece. You do it so nicely though, because I went to a water park last weekend. We took Noah to a little indoor water park, and there was this little boy online, and he was like, bleh, bleh. He just kept making this stupid ass noise, and so he was doing it to the people because it was a line for this like lily pad thing. So basically the kids jump from like pod to pod and, you know, or they could fall in the water. It's fun, whatever. So we're waiting on the line and he's doing it to everybody who's like messing up as they're going on the pods. And so I finally turned around and I was like, stop being a little shithead.
Oh, well, I do that too. Well, I don't curse at the children, but I remember there was one time
every once in a while
in church. I have threatened somebody else's child though, and I didn't feel no ways tired. Let me tell you, I was sitting in church right by this window, and the little girl was sitting in front of me. I watched her. She was literally peeling the paint off the window, and the woman that she was with, I knew her because this is a lady from my home church. Wasn't her mom, it was like her aunt or something. Uh-huh. So she just kept saying, can you please stop touching the window? She kept asking her, like, instead of giving her a directive, and it was getting my nerves. Can you not touch that? Please don't touch that. Can you not touch that? Don't touch that. And she just kept on. The little girl would look at her, and then as soon as she turned her head, she would stop. She would go right back to peeling the paint. So I literally just leaned up very, very nicely, and I whispered, you touch that windowsill again, I'm going to break your fingers. And I sat back and she looked at me. She was trying to figure out whether or not I was crazy enough to do it. And I was just looking at her like, I bet I will. Try me. And she, you know what she didn't do is touch that windowsill again. That's what she didn't do. But yes, so I definitely do that. And I get that from my mother because my mother has wholeheartedly just reprimanded somebody else. I mean, it's a wonder someone hasn't confronted her and tried to fight her because my mother will wholeheartedly reprimand your child. I don't care who you belong to. Where are you supposed to be, little boy? Excuse me. Like, yeah, she will totally do that. My mother has taken, if you come into church and your baby is crying and you can't handle it, my mother will literally walk up to you and take your child.
That's my grandmother all day.
She will take it and just be like, he's going to sit with me for the rest of service. Okay. God bless you. Like, it's fine. And I mean, most of the time, just like with my moms, most of the times parents don't feel no way about it. Like I've never done it and a parent be like, ugh. Most parents be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, so,
I'm so tired.
Yeah. I'm so tired. Someone helped me. I appreciate the help. And the last thing that I do, well, not the last thing, but this is the last one I'm going to share on the show, is definitely being a grammar Nazi.
Ooh.
I totally get that from Rhonda because I used to come in the house and be like, Mommy, let me ask you a question. And she'd be like, ask? I'm like, Mommy, let me ask you a question. She'd be like, ask? Hatchet? Are you going to cut my face off? And I would be like, you're so rude, but I totally do that. I'm now a grammar Nazi. Most of your favorite books, like the books that the hood be reading, most of y'all's favorite books, I can't even I tried to read like 50 Shades of Grey, but I couldn't get past it because I was editing. I was editing the book. I was like, this is now, wait a second here. Like I had a pencil, was literally crossing things out like, but this is
highlighter and a red pen.
Indeed. So yes, being a grammar Nazi, I definitely got that from, and you know, other than the usual things, like I have adopted all of my mother's mannerisms, the way that I hold my purse, the way that I stand, the way that I swing my left arm when I walk. It's really, really scary. It usually, you know, when you walk up to a door and you see yourself in the reflection, that's usually when I see it, and it literally like scares me out of my skin every time I see it. I'd be like, Jesus, I walk just like my mother. So crazy. But yes, those are my sis. Do you have some?
I do. Some certain things like my mother does, I'm always going to do. Clearly, my mother is a chef. I'm a chef. But one thing I am always going to do that my mother does, I can make a gravy from scratch. I'll make a stock from scratch. I'll do all of that. Do my herbs and all of that. I'm always going to put a little bit of kitchen bouquet in my gravy. It doesn't matter what it is. Just like my mother, I am always going to put a touch of kitchen bouquet in my gravy to make sure that it gets that nice brown hue.
For the culture.
For the culture. Like, you got to. Like, I don't really care about anything that you have to say.
Nobody want no light-skinned gravy, though. So you got to do it.
And there are ways to darken your gravy. I get it. But guess what? A nigga uses kitchen bouquet, just like her mother.
Ain't nobody mad.
The next, so what drove this entire, this whole even thought about this, just things that you do like your mother and like just black mom things in general. I was talking to my friend Santana. We were walking down the street and we were talking about, we were eating cookies from this bakery. And I was like, yo, my mother used to make the ill peanut butter cookies. And she goes, did she put the fork marks in them? I was like, yes, she put the fork marks in the peanut butter cookies. And we fell out laughing on the street because we were like, that is such a black mom thing to do. Like, my mother would make the homemade peanut butter cookies and she would make sure she put them 4 fork marks in the peanut butter cookies where it looks like a hashtag. So that was what drove this whole thing. So I make sure that I put the fork marks in the peanut butter cookies just like my mother. And then bleach. I use bleach when I clean.
To the point of asphyxiation. Like literally, I have been in that bathroom with some bleach and Comet and literally had to like, oh God, let me stick my head out the window or something because I've been in here moving and grooving about to kill myself. But your house is not clean if you're not using bleach now.
It's really not. And everybody knows that I'm earthy crunchy, and I'll make my own cleanser with, essential oils and vinegar and water and distilled water and things like that. But let me tell you, a nigga loves bleach. Like, I use bleach in everything. I use bleach in the tub. I use bleach in the toilet. And I was washing dishes, and my friend was over, and she was like, did you just spray the dishes with bleach? Yes, I did. I did a quick squirt. I spray my dishes with bleach. You can save all of your advice. I don't care.
Oh, you did? Like, did you die? Did you die?
Did anybody die? No, but were your dishes clean? I make sure that I rinse them in scalding hot water to get all the chemicals off. But that's another thing. That's another thing. Yo, my mother was like, "Don't you have no greasy dishwater out here with no lukewarm water?"
I believe hot water is the reason. Like, I don't even wash my body. Like my water be so hot. Like, listen, my mother used to say, you got to let the dirt know that you mean business.
That's it.
You can't be out here all dilly-dallying with the germs and bacteria. You got to be like, oh, no, honey. Y'all have come to this party to die. Like, all of you have to go. So yes, hot water, that is such a black mom thing because don't nobody take no cold nothing.
No, my mother was like, do not wash my dishes in lukewarm water. She loved to use do not wash my dishes in lukewarm water. You better wash my dishes in hot water. My hands be on fire red. Listen, I have eczema.
We don't have no senses in our fingers no more. Most of
No, I definitely don't.
Them off. Absolutely.
Besides the fact that I cook for a living, so I take things out of the oven with my hands. I
haven't gotten that far, but yes. I feel like
it's bad. It's bad. But I wash my dishes in scalding hot water, so all the chemicals are off of it. But I believe strongly in bleach. I mop my floors with it. I do everything with it. And guess what? I'm still here.
Alive.
The way I fold my towels just like my mother. Like, I fold my towels exactly like my mother. Every single fold, like the way that they're shaped. Because I notice, I always pay attention to how people fold their towels because everybody folds their towels differently. But I know that the way that I fold my towels, it reminds me of my mother. Towels and T-shirts and drawers. My mother taught me, like, she was very strict about how to fold towels, T-shirts, and drawers. I can't get that fitted sheet right for nothing.
I feel like that's how I know. That's like the mark of the generation because I wish that my mother would have been like a linen closet Nazi and she would have made me like if she would have drilled folding the fitted sheet into me like she drilled other things into me, I feel like I would be better for it because she didn't make me learn how to, and now I regret it. And now I can't fold a fitted sheet to save my life. I feel like I'm not an adequate adult. I will never be a good mother because my linen closet will never look like my mama's. Like it won't. Because
she didn't place importance on it.
I try to do it every time, but I literally get frustrated and just ball it up. And then I try to like smooth out the edges like it's not balled up. But everybody knows that it's balled up. It's terrible.
Like, oh, that must be her fitted sheets.
They like way in the back of the closet. Like they're not in you won't be able to see them outright, literally.
In a disheveled pile. A disheveled pile of fitted sheets. Yo, my Nana could fold a fitted sheet like nobody's business. That wasn't something that my mother placed importance on either. Like she tried to show me and I was resistant. And then I guess she got tired. And so she was like,
it was just too many steps. Like I literally remember the first 3 or 4 steps. But when it gets to like step number 12, I'll be checked out.
I'm like, I hate this. Stop. I don't care anymore.
Why does it take so much work to do this?
I literally do not care about folding this sheet. I'm going to go on with my life.
I have tried to YouTube it and everything, but I just can't seem to get it right. Maybe we should have a clinic. Do you guys know how to fold fitted sheets?
Please
somebody
give
teach
us a
me.
step-by-step at YouTube. There's got to be a YouTube.
There is a YouTube. I told you I've watched them, but I still can't get it. I feel like I need the power of community. Maybe we could have like a class, a workshop, or something else.
You know what? Maybe we're gonna have a Gettin Grown fitted sheet expose.
Leave a comment. Leave a comment if y'all would come to that. That will be live.
Yeah, I think we're gonna put that out in the universe. We're gonna have a Gettin Grown fitted sheet party. And like a bad habit that I've picked up from my mother, and I can't help it. So this is like a mother thing. When your kid gets to a certain age, they start to get curious, and they start poking and prodding at their little parts.
Oh,
and I have read articles and things about how this is natural and normal, and how just try to make them feel comfortable and this, that, and the third. I just think it's weird and it makes me uncomfortable. I try so hard. I'm like, and I'll say it to myself. I'm like, okay, she's just a toddler right now. And I'm like, no, man, this shit it's making me uncomfortable. Stop doing that. So I find myself being paranoid like that, like my mother. And I try to shake off. Like, I'm like, why do I feel that way? Like, why does that make me uncomfortable? And it's because my mother was like she was the most distrusting person in the world.
I feel like you gotta be when you raising a little girl, though. When you raising a child, period. But I feel like everybody's. I don't even have children, but I literally can. I can definitely see why you would feel that way, and I could see myself feeling the very same way.
I'm gonna touch on this a little bit more because I have another question to ask you a little bit later. But I have a story that I'm gonna share. But we'll circle back to that. How my mother's the most distrusting person in the world, and she's super paranoid, and how I find myself being super paranoid in certain situations, and I'm like, I really don't want to be like that, and I try to fight feeling that way. So, those are just, and then also another thing, making sure my child looks better than me. My mom was fly, don't get me wrong.
That's what's up.
She always made sure that if she had to rush, that we were put together. And Absolutely. I've tried to take that in my life. You know what I'm saying? I want to try to look my best when I leave the house, but at the same time, I got to make sure my child's teeth are brushed, her hair is combed, and Absolutely. Her clothes are clean. Like
that's how you do it. Because I mean, there's nothing worse than when you see. That's a petty peeve of mine. Fast forward to the other segment, the following segment. But, bruh, don't let me see you and you are dressed to the nines and you got your freshest pair of J's and your crispy everything, pop tags, you smelling everything, and here come your little snotty nosed ashy little girl behind you where her hair ain't been combed in 3 weeks. Because that right there is going to make me feel some kind of way about you.
That's it. Like, that's really it. And then as a mother, I know I'm definitely judging you. I'm gonna be like, bitch, now you know damn well.
Come on,
you could have done something with that kid. Like, what are you doing right now? You're trash. You're trash. Love and hip hop girl. So it's stuff like that. And then always having something on my feet. My mother stayed, no matter how clean the floors were in the house, my mother stayed with something on her feet. I stayed with something on my feet. It's just things like that, like just little things that I notice. And then other habits that I picked up, but we'll touch on that a little bit later on into the segment. So those are some of the small things that I know that I've picked up from my mother and that I find myself doing in my everyday life or as I move through life.
We got some, I tweeted out before we started recording to some listeners just to kind of get everybody to chime in and ask them, what are some of the things that you people catch themselves doing that let them know that they're turning into their moms? We got a lot of good feedback. You guys are hilarious. And this is like, it confirmed to me that this topic would be, pretty timely and resonate with a lot of us. Just this kind of like good conversation. A lot of people said that they find themselves waking up on Saturday morning and cleaning their house to loud music. Sometimes gospel, sometimes, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, all the greats were named and listed.
Oh, absolutely.
We have some other people who, say things like, when I say things like, because I said so, or you got McDonald's money, or one of my favorites is, I refer to air conditioner as good air. And I was like, I totally do that. I was like, somebody got in my car last week. Yeah, somebody got in my car last week and I had my air on. They let the window down. I was like, you just going to let all my good air out this car like that? You just going to let it out. But yeah, lots of good things. People were saying like, having a short fuse, using their mother's terminology, catching themselves making the same facial expressions as their mom when they say things like who you think you talking to, or if they tell people to get somewhere and sit down. That's definitely a mom thing to say.
Find a seat.
Find a seat and utilize it. Sit on down. L_Monique said, turning the music up and asking my niece, what you know about this? As if there isn't a 10-year difference between us. Giving the infamous side eye. Never leaving dishes in the sink overnight. That's absolutely not. Yeah, we got some really... I got some really good ones.
I know one that I got. Somebody said every time these kids spill something on the carpet or break something, I hear my mama can't have nothing around these kids. That's my couch. So I really want a new couch so bad, and I want it to be like navy or something because
it can't be a light.
I have a gray couch, and when I tell you it is stains galore. And I'm like, yo, I'm never going to be able to have a nice piece of anything in here because the two of you, so that one definitely resonated with me, correcting people's grammar. I know I do that all the time in spelling and verbally, going in and out of the house. Get in or get out. Like,
you need to pick one. You can't be running it.
You're going to stay outside or you're going to stay inside, but you're not getting ready to go back and forth in and out of my house, tracking all that dirt in my house. So yeah, I got quite a few good ones. We got so many actually when we put it out there.
Somebody said, I know what outside smells like. Like I'm coming in here smelling like outside.
It's smelling like outside.
Bringing that mess in my house.
That's such a black mother thing to say.
Another one was saying quiet as it's kept. That's definitely a black mom thing to say. Yeah, I was just so excited. Telling people to try me. Go ahead. At Lee Writes a Lot said, like my mom, I rely heavily on feelings rather than logic in choosing men. And while my dad is a great dad, he was an atrocious lover. I said, woo, girl, that was a word, huh?
That was a word.
Girl, Mr. Me Too. Okay.
That was a word.
Yes.
I got one, being irritated by other people's sounds. Sometimes other people just being alive in my proximity is too loud. My mother used to be like, stop breathing. Just stop breathing. And I find myself doing the same thing. Like people's breath will get on my nerves on a bad day. So that one definitely stuck out to me.
This one girl said, if these toys aren't up off this floor by the time I come back, it's all going in the trash.
That's me all day.
I'm throwing, because I throw everything away. I will throw you away if you give me, please. Telling people to wash their hands before they go in my refrigerator. Absolutely.
Somebody said children when they're around their nieces and nephews, they find themselves saying children are to be seen and not heard. That that was not one that I was told very regularly, and I don't know. I like to give children a voice. Like, you can't have too many opinions. I don't need to hear too much of what you got to say, but I want them to feel like what they got to say matters. So I don't know. I think that's one that I try to U-turn and do something new in this generation.
You gotta revise it, sis.
You know, sometimes you gotta revise it. So speaking of which, revising, some of the things that you find yourself doing that your mother does, how do you find that there are things that you would like to do differently than your mother? Like, do you find that there are certain habits that you have that you might have picked up from her that you actually try to fight against because it's not necessarily something that, you know?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a habit of my mom's. And I think
like even like a thought process or whatever.
Yeah. So 2 things come to mind. The first one being my mom was outstanding, amazing, excellent mom. Like, she rode for me and my brother without question, without a doubt. And I will always appreciate that for her. And I've never been a mom, so I don't know if this is just what you're supposed to do. But I really wish that my mom would have found a way to learn to balance maintaining some sense of herself outside of being Keia and Brian's mom. Because, you know, both my brother and I noticed that as we became adults, because, you know, she had literally thrown herself like completely into being our mom. I mean, she worked and she had a career and everything. But aside from being, you know, having her career and being a mom, I don't know that, and I don't want to speak for her, but just from my perspective, I really wish that she would have found a way to balance and find time to cultivate some of her passions and talents in ways that would not only feed her spirit but would also, like, I would have liked to see my mom is a super talented, like, creative person. And it was just something that she did as a hobby. And I really felt like it's something that she could be doing to like it could be her career. She's retired, so she works now to just kind of, you know, occupy her time and kind of keep, you know, money coming in. But My mom is a master seamstress. Like when my grandparents renewed their vows for their 50th, my mom made all the bridesmaid dresses. Like literally 9 of them. And she does all these fabulous window treatments, and she makes beautiful floral arrangements, and like she's just got a knack for like home decor and doing all that kind of stuff. And I have always wished that she would build that. I'm like, that could be like a huge thing. Like, and I've tried to really tell her, and show her that you can do this and like make money. Like you could do this and like sustain yourself. You wouldn't have to go into that job and let them people fry your nerves every day. Right. But I really wish that, you know, and I think it's also a generational thing, but a habit that I'm trying to make for myself is to always avail myself of options and to cultivate my passion in a way that it not only feeds my spirit and my soul, but it's also, you know, a resource that I can, you know, it's an additional source of income, a source to sustain myself and my family. So I wish that I could, lots of things happen. You know, she was doing it by herself. So it could have just been over, you know, bandwidth, not having the time or the bandwidth or the energy to take on something else. So I get it. So this is not me judging her, but I just wish that and hope that going forward, I can kind of find a way to do that better. And the second thing really deals with not being so skeptical and afraid, because I feel like the anxiety and stress and stuff that I carry is a lot of that. I feel like I have because I watched my mom. And granted, she's dealt with a lot of hard things. Please don't tell her. This is why y'all can't tell her about this show, because she gonna be like, why you tell her the whole world my business?
You can't tell mine today either.
Like, anyway, but you know, she's dealt with some really hard things and she's made it through and she's amazing. But I think that those experiences hardened her in a way. And she raised me to be tough. You know what I'm saying? And that toughness sometimes is at odds with the parts of me that, you know, is afraid and is vulnerable. And, you know, so I constantly have this conflict where I'm like, you know, I'm a G. You know what I'm saying? Right. You do what you got to do. And it's got to be done. So, you know, and then that part of me who just wants to be like, but I need help. So I wish that, and I hope that, you know, that's something that I definitely feel like I picked up from her. And I know that that's probably something that a lot of people can say, but yeah, I wish that I could, and, you know, going back to what we talked about a little bit last week during Black Women Self-Care, just trying to like manage my stress, my emotions, my thought life better. Because, you know, you get different responsibilities, much is given, much is required. And to quote Diddy and Biggie right after I quote the Bible, more money, more problems, more opportunities, more problems. So like the more things that are on your plate, the more awesome opportunities that you have, you're always going to have more and more things to deal with on the back end of that. So, you know, finding better ways to manage all of that is really a season that I'm in. So that's something we're probably going to continue to talk about on the show, because I'm figuring it out, or trying to, every day, literally. But
yeah, that's definitely something we're going to touch on very, very soon, because I am in the same space. But I guess some of the things that I find that I would like to do differently than my mother, some of them come in just how I parent my own child. She has taught me so many valuable things, just like you spoke about your mother. She's taught me so many valuable things, and, you know, so many things that I'm going to continue to take with me, and things that I think about later on that I'm like, that's why she said that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I really value a lot of what she's taught me and what she's taught me through action. But I also find some of her ways to be things that I would want to change. My mom was super paranoid and distrusting, like I touched on earlier, to the point where it made me uncomfortable to talk to her about things that I should have been more comfortable talking to my mother about. Same. So I'm going to tell you all a super personal story, right? So I was 16 and I had antibiotics. I got sick for whatever reason and I was on antibiotics. So it was my very first yeast infection. And, you know, I didn't really realize that antibiotics, cleaned everything out of your body to the point where, you know, you needed to balance that out with some probiotics. Like the internet was not as prevalent then as it is now. So it wasn't as easy to Google and all of that. So I kind of had to figure it out. And I was afraid to go to my mother and tell her what was going on because I knew the very first thing out of her mouth was going to be, what you been doing? So I'm sitting here trying to deal with this myself. I'm doing all kinds of foolish things with yogurt and so forth and so on.
Oh my God.
And listen, it is what it is. And then finally I went to her because it just got to the point where it was unbearable. And I was like, listen, this is what's going on. And she was like, what you been doing? Man, see, and I knew at this point that it was the antibiotics because I'd spoken to my grandmother about it. And my grandmother told me that antibiotics did the same thing to her and that they do it to a lot of women when it cleans your body out. Like that's a common side effect. So I'm like, okay. So I went to my mother, you know, to try to resolve it. And that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. And it was always instances like that where it was like, I don't want to come to you because you are not going to be empathetic or understanding to what I'm talking to you about. You're not going to be able to put your motherly feelings to the side enough to be able to talk some sense to me. Now, not saying that she didn't talk a lot of real shit to me because she did. But at the same time, it was always that type of reaction that came along with certain things. And I want to make sure that with me mothering Noah, especially having a daughter, God, this is my karma, that I don't make her feel uncomfortable in coming to me and talking to me about, you know, certain things that may be going on with her, how she's feeling. I don't ever want her to get to that point where she's paranoid to come talk to me. And so that's where I have to constantly check myself and my reactions to her, even now as a toddler. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this is going to carry on as I continue to parent her. And so I have to try to shake those habits now. And those are things that are ingrained in me because they're taught from how I was raised. You never really realize until you get older how you were raised affects you so much. And I'm like really coming into that now. I'm really in that stage where I'm like, damn, the way that you're raised really for real, like fucks with you. Like it really plays a huge part in who you become as a person, no matter how much you try to fight it. And so there are things that there are habits that we have to try to like fight against actively, that we pick up. And it's okay if there are habits that you have, or there are thought processes or patterns or whatever that you have that you might want to change from your mother. It doesn't mean that your mother was a bad mother. It just means that you want to do things a little bit differently. You want to tweak it a little bit. And we've touched on that before, but I know that I felt guilty about that in the past for not wanting to do things exactly like my mother. And I don't feel guilty about that anymore. I've kind of come to peace with the fact that, a lot of what she's taught me is super useful and I want to pass that on. But it's okay for me to start some of my own traditions and my own healthy thinking in my family. So I know that's one huge thing that I got from my mother. And it comes in forms of like nagging and fussing and, just things like that. And then the other thing too is making sure that I'm more truthful with Noah than my mother was with me. I've talked about my ex before. Shout out to all the Ryans of the world. And him breaking off our wedding.
Really quickly, while you I don't want to butt in, but when you said that, we got a tweet, sis. What is that? A sneeze? My Jesus. God bless you. So girl, we got a tweet from one of our listeners. I can't find it, but she was saying that she met a dude named Brian 3 weeks ago. She started talking to him and she was just like, y'all were right. So
yes.
I said,
that's not the only one though.
Bruh, we get them all the time. I told her, I said, put on your robe. I said, put on your robe and tell the story, sis. And she was just like, how about he had a whole wife and a child somewhere? I said, because Ryans are terrible people. I've been trying to tell y'all. I said, y'all thought we was lying, but y'all keep furnishing these receipts. But I'm sorry, I digress.
Listen, our words are our own experiences. They are not coming from a place of fiction.
I'm here to tell you not what I heard, but what I know. Okay?
That's it.
What I know. Like that's what I've learned. But go ahead.
So,
go ahead.
Shout out to all the Ryans of the world. But when my ex broke off our wedding, the week of the bridal shower, after all of the invitations and save the dates and things had been sent, right. I found out that my father did the same thing to my mother. So I always knew my parents got married. I think I've said this before, in a living room. My mother wore a red dress. My father wore a brown suit, and it was what it was. But they had a wedding plan, like an entire situation. And my father was cheating on my mother, had a little girlfriend, and broke their wedding off in his stupidity, and then ended up getting back together because he came to somewhat of his senses. And they ended up getting married. They were also super young. My parents were very young when they got married, like 20 or some shit. So, you're allowed to be dumb then, but you're affecting so many lives when you do so. And I didn't find out that my father did that to my mother until it happened to me. And I was like, why did I never know this story? Like, why did you never tell this to me? So that little secretive little thing that goes on through the family, I want to make sure that I don't have that with my own. It's like, no, we need to talk about the things that have happened to us. And yes, there are things you're going to take to the grave. I get it. But all in all, you never know what your stories and your experiences are going to do for your offspring and your offspring's offspring and, everybody to come down the line. Like, I love hearing stories from my grandmother. I hope to have the stories from my grandchildren and my children. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure, like, that little secretive thing that a lot of minority families have, where they don't like to talk about the dirt.
Not even just the dirt, but just like life. Like, I can be honest, like, I don't know anything about my mother's dating life. Like, I know that she married my daddy, and that's it. Like, I don't know if she had good dates, bad dates. I don't know if somebody cheated on her. I don't know. And because she's never been forthcoming with those things, I've been hesitant to share my experiences with her because like your mom, because of some of the things, that and that hard exterior, that, they have, that skepticism and distrust, every time I've said anything to my mom about a dude, it's always within seconds she's at like worst case scenario. Like, I told
yes,
the last dude I was dealing with, I told my mom about him and she was just like, well, Tekia, I know all of your friends are getting married, but I don't want you to be rushing into no wedding. I said, Mom, I told you that I like this boy. What? I never told you that we were dating. I said that we like each other and we hang out sometimes and it's fun. Why are you telling me not to rush down the aisle? Don't rush down the aisle, Tekia. I don't like it didn't take long for her. And don't be letting him up in your house and don't you give him no money. And I'm just like, wait a minute, sis. Wait. So that secrecy, that like, because she's not been forthcoming and because every time I have talked to her about my experiences, she's really been real like scared. I have not really had that outlet. And I'm really envious of, I just really appreciate, when I have friends who have such open relationships with their moms and they're able to talk about dating and those kinds of experiences. And I don't have that. I really wish that I did. And I hope if I ever have the opportunity to be a mom, it's my prayer that I will be able to have a relationship with my child where, still establishing the parent-child dynamic, but also it not being so intense that we can't have real conversations about real things, because that's definitely something that is needed. Like, I mean, there are times where you want to talk to your mom about things, but you don't want to hear her mouth, so you don't.
Right.
And then what do you do?
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I didn't have that relationship to that point where I was able to be so open about things. And it makes it really frustrating because there are things you want to talk to your mother about, and it's okay to establish those boundaries. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing that I'm establishing like that parent boundary, but at the same time, I'm making my daughter feel comfortable with coming to me with things that she needs to talk to me about. And I'd rather her come to me than go to her little raggedy ass friends.
Indeed.
So, that's another thing my mother taught me. Right. But then I'm like, you contradict yourself because when I come to you, you act like a plum donkey in your reaction. So then I have to go to my little ashy ass friend. So I have to make sure that I change those patterns with how I'm raising my kid. So those are just some of the things I know. I know that, there are people who don't have those experiences. They have super open relationships with their mothers. Make sure you cherish that. Make sure you value that. If you didn't have that, we're right here with you. Keia and I both.
For real. I mean, and I just feel like this is a good place to say, like, this is not a judgment on moms, Jade's mom, my mom, any mom, because parenting is not something that you get a manual and people don't really teach you how to do it, and all parents are just figuring it out. So, ain't nobody over here saying, good parents, bad parents, anything like that. We also want to acknowledge that everybody may not have a relationship with their mother or has been raised by their mother. But, regardless of the context or this particular conversation, it's not about, I don't want anyone to feel bad because of what we're saying, because you may not have had a relationship with your mom. Whoever it was that raised you instilled in you some things. And this conversation can, think about them, whether it be a foster mom or an aunt or somebody in the hood that looked out for y'all, or, just anyone a bigger sister, a cousin, any kind of family member or a close family friend. This, you can think about what we've shared in that context as well, because the same principle applies. The people who care about you, the people who sow into your life, we often have a tendency to pick up their habits, good, bad, and ugly. So it's all a matter of, as you navigate your adulthood, kind of, people say in the church all the time, but like eating the meat and spitting out the bones. So you take the good pieces, and you spit out the things that are not so good. You add your own seasoning and put your own twist to it. Like Jay was saying, you give the 2.0 version for you and your children when the time comes. So I thought that this was a cool idea, sis. So thanks for bringing it up, to just have a little time and sit and be nostalgic about what it means to grow up and some of the things that you notice about yourself in the process.
Thanks, sis. Well, I'm glad we were able, to touch on a little bit. I know we can go into this for hours and talk about all of the things that, we get from our mothers and the things that, that we hold dear, and just like the habits and the fun things. And we'll touch on this again. But make sure you're writing to us at GettinGrownPodcast@gmail.com. Let us know maybe some of the things that you picked up from your mothers, maybe some of the things that you feel that you might want to change. And let's keep the conversation going.
Support for today's episode of Gettin Grown comes from Form. Form is the very first women's prestige hair care collection to celebrate beauty in all its forms. Not only do they carry a super wide range of products designed for hair of all textures, the Form collection is made specifically for indecisive girls like myself who've spent hours in the black hair care aisle at Target with 72 products in her hand. They explore your needs and preferences and literally customize a personal hair regimen specifically for you. And this is not what they told me to say, child. I took their survey online, and days later, they sent me products to fit my hair type, hair density, porosity, preferred styling, all that. And I didn't even have to move my car. Won't he do it? So head on over to formbeauty.com/grown to take the Form consultation and receive your hair care regimen today. Use our link and get 10% off your order. Your discount will be applied at checkout. That's formbeauty.com/grown. Now, let's get to the show.
Honestly?
Truly. It's time for the honesty box. It's time for the honesty box. It's time for the honesty box. So, our honesty box email today says, "Hey, ladies, I'm writing you ladies because I really need some advice on how to repair my relationship with my mom. My mom just has 2 daughters and we're both grown. I'm in my late 20s and my sister's in her late teens. Lately, I've been struggling with my relationship with my mom and I'm starting to resent her a bit. My mom is in her early 50s and she's already given up on life. I feel like she hasn't recovered from her midlife crisis, breakdown from when she turned 40. When all of that was happening, I just finished high school and started attending college. Things just went from bad to worse, from being homeless, her having health issues and having to move to a couple of different states. Through all of this, I've been her rock and put school on hold to work full time and look out for my mom and my sister, since I am the oldest. It's really weighing on me heavily lately. My mom just seems to have given up on life and I want to leave. I'm just not going back to school to try to work on me, but I'm so unmotivated. I feel like I haven't gotten a chance to do what I want to do and gain my own life experiences. I feel like I've switched roles with my mom earlier than I wanted to. I'm helping my sister while she's in college and still living at home since I'm the breadwinner, but living under my mom's rules even though we're technically roommates. I'm at the point where I might not want to have kids since I've had to help raise my sister and take care of my mom. What should I do? I'm so tired, stressed, and uncomfortable of where my mom and I are at this point in my life. My mom used to be social, a go-getter, and very hardworking. It's hard to see her give up so early in life, and I feel like I'm going down the same path. I want to do me, but I don't want her to end up out on the street because she's not able to sustain stability for herself. I just want to get my own space so bad. Please help. Thank you, ladies, for blessing us every week, and hope this makes it to you. Much success to you both. You want to go, sis?
So I guess I feel like I should preface this by saying that I am in no way a counselor or a professional. And I think that this situation may warrant or it may be worth your time to consider speaking to, someone who could help you just think through some of your options in a productive way. And I would encourage you to do that. If I were you, I think that's what I would do. But just in terms of, my initial response to your question, I think that, I think that it's fair for you to want your own space and to want to take some initiative about your own life, especially if you say that you see yourself going down the road that your mom is on. And I think that, your mom might respond to your proactivity in that way, in a very positive way. So I think, it may not be wise for you to wait around for her to do something. I think maybe you getting up and doing something might inspire and encourage her to do the same. And it doesn't have to be something that you just leaving her out high and dry, but I think it may be worth having a conversation with her and just expressing what your goals are and saying that you want to, come up with a plan where you guys can work toward you being able to transition outside of the home and taking some more initiative, towards your own goals, and just asking her to help you and meet you halfway with that. And it's my hope and prayer that she would be responsive to it. But yeah, I feel like there's nothing wrong. I don't want you to feel ashamed or like you can't do that. I think in order for us to help the people that we love and pour into them and feed them, not literally, but just be there for them. We have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. It's just like when you're on an airplane and the plane is crashing, they tell you to put on your mask before you try to help somebody else. Because, so I think it's worthwhile, and I applaud you for thinking, having the courage, I should say, and being bold enough to, want to branch out on your own and get back to your life. And I think that there's definitely a way to do it. It's just about a way to go about it to ensure that your mom doesn't feel like you just up and leaving her high and dry. But I think it's something that'll take time to transition, but I think it's definitely possible. What do you think, sis?
I definitely agree with everything that you said. I share the same sentiments that neither one of us are professionals. I'm definitely not a professional. But in a situation like this, I completely agree with Keia, where I would say you definitely need to seek some professional help, just because this is so deep rooted. That is something that a professional would really help you to be able to sort through in a way that's productive for your situation. But coming straight from me, I don't think there's anything wrong with you wanting to branch out and do your own thing and really try to begin your life. And I can understand that it can get resentful that you have been in this place where you feel like you haven't been able to start up the way that you want to. But it's not late. You are still young. You still have the ability to do the things that you want to do. And even if you don't know what that is yet, that's okay. But starting to figure that out and getting to school and starting somewhere is definitely a step in the right direction. As far as your mother, she's going to have to get some professional help as well. I feel like working the both of you, like he has said, and going to some sort of counseling with the both of you and figuring out some productive steps is what's going to help you to try to sort through your situation in the best way possible where it works out for you and your mother. I understand where you're coming from. I also dealt with a mother who had a breakdown, and I was really young when it happened. I was like 13. So I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I kind of figured it out later on. And so I get that it can be really, really difficult to deal with. And it's hard when you have to sometimes as a young person take on some of that extra luggage within your family because of your situations. But it's not over for you. Don't feel like you have to give up now. You still have so much life to live and so many things to do and so much time. So I think starting to make those steps now is definitely the direction that you want to go. And I really hope that you're able to sort that out. And please keep us updated as to how things go.
Definitely. Thank you for writing.
Yes.
And I want to be very responsible of the things I say to my sister. Because everybody know I can be real petty. P-E to the T-T-Y, honey.
Petty peeves, petty peeves.
That's it.
That's the petty peeves. Is the segment where we talk about all things petty, things that irritate us in our everyday lives that probably irritate you too. And sometimes read your petty peeves as well. We still have that petty peeves episode coming very soon, but we want to have a special guest on the show when we do so. So we want to make sure that we have the right person.
Indeed. So sis, you got a petty peeve or you want me to start?
I got one. In the supermarket, stop leaving your buggy, your cart, whatever you call it, in the middle of the aisle. I don't understand.
Can't nobody get around you.
Just parallel park your cart. I just pull it off to the side, put your items in, and keep it pushing. I don't understand why people feel that it's okay to leave their carts in the middle of the aisle and why they're not cognizant that there are other human beings in the store who need to go around them in the middle of the aisle. And I'm the person who will gladly move your cart for you and push it in a direction that is quite inconvenient for you to get to if you do something like that to try to teach you a lesson. So
why? Because you're petty.
Because I'm a troll. What's your petty peeve?
I'm actually going to read a petty peeve that we received from one of our very faithful, very petty listeners. She writes, "Hey, y'all, I want to submit something near and dear to my heart for petty peeves. It really disturbs not only my soul, but also my time, which we all know we can't get back. I travel a lot for work and for leisure. In the interest of time, I have prepared for all this travel by getting approved by TSA for pre-check, so that I can get to the airport about 30 minutes prior to my flight, boarding and cruising through security to get to my plane on time. Can y'all help me understand why the slowpokes at the airport won't let me be great? Why do they ride the electronic sidewalk and in unison decide to use their bodies to say, 'You shall not overcome'? Why are the airport pedestrians moving slower than cold molasses to get to their gates? And more importantly, why are they moving like they don't have a flight to catch in front of me? Traveling is already cumbersome. Let's make it better for each other by expeditiously moving with purpose in the airport so that we may all make it to our flights in time for our boarding group to be called. Thanks for sharing my travel PSA. Love moving with purpose." That was just so good and such a blessing to my soul, because I too travel quite a bit for work. And I think that people who stand on the moving escalator should be shot.
Yeah, just keep walking. It's there for you to get there faster.
It's there for you to walk, not to stand, sis. Is there
and stand to the right.
Stand to the right. If you're moving, stand, like those are the rules everywhere in all 50 states and in most countries. If you're moving, you're moving on the right, on the left. If you're standing, you stand to the right. But I don't know why y'all plant your feet in the center of the aisle so that can't nobody get around you. Because guess who's going to tap you and say, "Excuse me," to Keia.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Listen,
and I say it multiple times.
I will strong arm and shoulder all of my 5'10" body through. I don't care because you're in my way. Now, if
I'll shove a whole family.
If someone is, disabled, I can be patient. I can, if it's pregnant, if it's a child or a stroller situation, I might roll my eyes and sigh in exasperation, but I'm not going to be rude. But if I see that you are well-abled and, of sound mind from what I can assess, I'm going to move you if you don't move yourself. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with this. This sits near and dear to my heart as well. Please walk to the right. Everybody walk to the right. If we walk to the right, then the world would be a better place. When you're on the escalator, walk to the right, stand to the left. Walk to the right, stand to the left. Like that's how I'm sorry.
Girl.
Walk to the left, stand to the right.
You're about to get us all shot out here.
Yeah, but when you walk in the sidewalk, you're supposed to walk to the right.
And just sidewalks are another conversation because, I too move with purpose. I don't dilly dally in the streets. I don't take leisurely strolls. I walk like I have somewhere to be because most times I do have somewhere to be. But the people who just be, the tourists, the people who just leisurely.
Oh, the tourists.
Not even just tourists, but people who have that tourist mindset. Because I even have coworkers when we be like, let's go get something to eat. It literally pains me sometimes because they literally just take their precious moments. I'm like, girl, we could have been back to the office up the stairs at our desk eating and you still just taking these painfully slow paces. But yeah, girl, that's it. That's petty peeves for this week.
Yes. And that is another episode of Gettin Grown. Thank you for tuning in every single week. You guys are so appreciated. All of your comments, all of your ratings, all of your subscriptions are very, very much appreciated. Make sure you continue to do so.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I was
just
thinking another thing I wanted to say. Many of you took notice that we have, ads for the show. We're really excited. Yay. But, we've been encouraged to just let you guys know that if you guys really want to continue to support the show, support the advertisements, check out the links, invest in the products, you won't be sorry.
Nope.
And that's how we can keep bringing you these good quality shows. Getting sponsorship is amazing, but keeping sponsorship is really what is the real success of the show. And we're able to keep those sponsorships with you all's support. So we would really appreciate it if you guys would, check out the people who are, sponsoring our shows so that hopefully they'll keep on sponsoring them and we can keep giving you guys good quality content.
That's it. So make sure in the meantime, you can go right to Trader Joe's and get yourself some alkaline water with electrolytes. Make sure you're drinking that. You're moisturizing your skin and you're minding your business because your black will crack if it's dry.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.